Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be about symbology mostly in multi-point vectors in QGIS. So without further ado, let's get started. So of course to get to symbology we have to right-click test points, we go to properties. Now we're under single symbol here. Now if we start off, we're on no symbols. No symbols will be rendered for features in this layer. We have layer rendering. This is basically a box that's going to come up no matter what sort of drop-down menu we have here, whether it's single symbol or categorized or heat map or whatnot. And basically, again, we have blending effect, normal feature, normal, draw effects, control feature, rendering order. It's not terribly important, it's just something useful that you might need to know about right now. So we start off with single symbol. And basically, we have a marker here, we have a marker drop down, and we have listed as a simple marker. Now if we look at marker, we can see we can choose the color of our marker. We have this color wheel show up, and let's just change it to red. We have opacity. Now, opacity is currently at 100%. You can change it to something like 50%. Oops, 500%. That's not right. And after we click apply, we see our dots here. These dots are basically just the cities of France in order of the 4 biggest cities in France by population. You can see that they're actually currently quite small here. So, for example, there's Paris here, Lyon, Marseille, Toulouse. And yeah, so they're red, but they're also kind of halfway opaque. So we can do that now. What's useful is that we actually have this little button here, where it basically lets us define, well, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, data find override. So basically we can just change the opacity of each of these based on, say, for example, we have population here. It would be useful to use some other field attributes to kind of determine this with, but for now we're just going to go with population. And we click apply. And again, they're basically just all kind of turned almost transparent because the properties are the opacity. Well, the population, the biggest population, or I'll just show you. So basically, we'll close that out for a second. Open attribute table. Basically, each one just has a population of 21, 4, 5, and 8. This is not 21 million. This is actually 2100,000. So for example, that would be 2.1 million, 0.4 million, 0.5 million, 0.8 million, and so on. So we're going to go back to properties, and we're under marker. We're going to deactivate this. Now we have our size. Now our size can be adjusted to about 2 millimeters each. But again, you can pull the same, you can do pretty much the same thing as you did earlier. You can do data defined override, field type integer double string, with population. And we'll click apply. And now we have on our screen varying circles of various sizes based on what our population was. For example, Paris had 2,100,000 people in it, so its diameter is about 21 millimeters, and the rest of the cities are a bit smaller. And we also have the rotation aspect again because it's going to give it to us in degrees. It's not going to do a very good rotation, and in either case, I mean, it's just going to create a circle, which really doesn't matter. Under favorites, again, we can just click on all symbols, go for graduate typography. Basically, it allows us for additional customization. For example, we have default symbols, dot black, color dot, effect drop shadow, topographic hospital, and so forth. Then if we click on simple marker, again, we have a very similar interface. So we have, for example, a simple marker layer. This is just, let's see if we click mask, animated marker. Well, because we're using simple marker here, the rest isn't actually too important. I think I'll go back. Actually, I'll look at this in another video, basically concerning the symbol layer type. But right now, this isn't too important. Again, you have the fill color that's red, stroke color that's black. Again, we can see if we move this, the border edge is black here. We can change that to white if we wanted. Click apply. And it returns a size of 4 millimeters. So this is just for this simple marker layer. But as you can see, you can't really see it right here, but the border is white. And so we're going to go back to here. We're going to go population. We're going to click apply. And we got our circles back. So we're going to go back to marker. Simple marker. And very simple. I think it deals with multiple layers. You know, this simple marker here we can add, for example, another simple marker. But that would, I think, edit the vector. I'm going to go to categorized. Categorized is pretty simple. First off, you want to select the value categorized by. For example, we have population here. We have our symbol that we want to use. We can choose yellow. We have our color ramp. Now we can either do random color ramp or maybe blues or greens. Let's go for blue. Then we have to click on classify once we have our population. Right here, actually, you have an select by expression thing, a select by expression population. So, for example, we have an expression dialog. At this moment, you won't need to know too much about how to use it. Just know that it's quite possible. So, for example, we can add current expression to user expression. That's just allow us to add expression. One thing we could do is we could actually select by expression, but that's, I believe, in a different editor, like for example, field calculator, as well as roster calculator. So again, we have fields and values. I clicked on population. I just went all the way in. So for example, we have select population. We can do something simple like divided by 2. Population divided by 2. Now, actually, so what this will do is we'll input our expression here. And I'll take the value and divide it by 2. So we click classify. You can see our max value for Paris was 21. Now it is 10.5. But we don't want to do that. We don't want to classify by divided by 2. Instead, we want to classify by population. So we click classify. And yes, it should be deleted. And we have back our original classification. So what we can do is we can click delete this. Now, if we click delete all, it's going to delete everything. I don't want to delete everything quite yet, so I'm just going to click the minus sign. It basically deletes just the last one, because we only have 4 cities. I'm going to click apply. And as you can see, we have these sorts of dots here. We have Toulouse here, Marseille, Lyon, Paris. And they're all varying in size based on population. So we're going to configure symbol. It should be dot black, yeah, because we had a dot white earlier. It could be dot black. And then we'll click apply. And yeah, you can see we still have our dots here. They went back to the same size, so let's go back to single symbol. We have, oh, that's right, we have our marker, that's right. Single symbol, our marker here is our simple marker here. I'm going to click apply. And we had size 2, so we can change it up a bit, but yeah, basically single symbol gets us back to our marker features. Once we have something from, say, for example, categorized, we can just do random colors again. Greens, classify. Oops, forgot our population. Click apply. So I would delete all, classify, there we go. We just reclassified everything into green. And then we have categorized there. Graduated is very similar. Again, you kind of do the same thing. For example, so we have our value, it's just population. Simple, we have a dot. Change that to green. Legend formats, it's not terribly important. It will show up in our classification box right here. Basically, we have precision 4, method color. We can actually edit by size, interestingly enough. So we can just do color, size from 1 to 8. Looks good. We can do millimeters. Again, that'll show up quite nicely on our screen. Click classify. And we we have our classification of sizes. Again, we start with circles, and we go to squares, or rectangles rather, quadrilaterals. And we have mode equal count quantile. Again, it's just basically each quantile is going to be a different, separate, similar distance from each other. So let's click classify. And apply. And then we have each circle that basically is corresponding to a particular size. So we still have Toulouse here, Marseille, Lyon, and Paris. It's a bit less dramatic, or a bit less kind of distinct, because we're using various kind of incremental sizes, which may not necessarily be kind of incremental or like having the same distance. Actually, I misspoke earlier. So, for example, we have values from 4 to 4.6, 4.6 to 5.6, 5.6 to 7.4. That's not actually accurate. So what you could do is you could change the values of them. So if we want to divide by 5, we could do well, we could just edit that, for example. So for it's about 8 points up, but this is less than 1 point difference between which cities will get the symbol. So you can adjust that if you want, and I recommend adjusting that. And last up, we have our heat map. Our heat map I went over in another video. Again, we have our color ramp, radius, millimeters, we can adjust that. Maximum value automatic, weight points by, we have an expression here. And yeah, there we go. So we just have a basic heat map with equally sized buffers, or blurred dots. But yeah, that's basically get rid of this for now. And yes, that's basically about it for point classification, or let's see, point categorization, or point symbology, rather, multi-point symbology. As I mentioned, I just went over the heat map. I have another video about that. But yeah, so basically, if you liked this video, please like and comment, like and subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care.